law has been passed. Go and get that. He came back with that bill. So my layman's interpretation of that bill would appear to put too much on the person who will be the chief executive officer, who is the hydrographer of the Navy, read hydrographer of the nation. It is something that we cannot make pronouncements on until we are sure. I even tried immediately after. My acting registrar is here. We even tried immediately after to book a courtesy call on the hydrographer of the Navy to see whether we can interact with him and get more facts on what is happening. But somehow, it didn't work. Even the day of that World Hydrographic Day, I tried to see him. He said, well, the chief of naval staff was there, and whenever he's there, every other person is listening. So it is work in progress. I did not say that the military is doing everything before they wait for me in some way there. I'm not in a hurry to leave this world. I don't know whether you are. I'm not in a hurry. I have not started though. Yes, I've not started certain things. So don't go there that side. Enlistment. A certificate takes a long time to be available. I agree, up to an extent. You see, the identification of a problem may be part of the solution. I have identified that problem, and we are thinking about it. That is why at the last stage, I said something about upgrading our ICT architecture and efficiency. We'll look into that. MCPD, short-time courses, fine. It's not SOCON that will promote, will do that. It's the universities. The only thing we can say is to dialogue with them, Nigerian Association of Survey Lecturers, to tell them that this and that, that can be done. But our main thrust is to see what we can do within the available time we can. We literally leased out that function to NIS, and we will continue to do that. The only thing now is that there are little modifications. These things we talk about credit, and then maybe we'll put in 1 or 2 people in the committee, and then maybe take a little part of their earnings, not too much, something very small, like maybe 60% of what. Yes, we've talked about personal interest, yes. And I mean what I'm saying. We must think about the profession. And any group that does not have group interest will eventually disintegrate and collapse. If you remember history, when Admiral Nelson was on the Battle of Trafalgar, when he was shot and he was about dying, he was not thinking about going to tell my wife or tell my family. He called the sailors. England expects every man to do his duty. He was more interested in the people who are in the ship fighting to think about England. I would like to share that with you. I would like to work on some of these things with the national interest. I think if we want to be fair to ourselves, some of us have reached a point where we are not starting new homes, new buildings, buying the car for the first time and all that. So we should try and smoothen the passage for the younger generation. We should try. And enjoy the things you are capable of enjoying without visiting the hospital. So I think I will keep to that, definitely. But we must also remember that she has a right to her opinion. And I will not dismiss her opinion. I will reason with her and throw superior argument to her. And let's see whether I can convince her. And that should be the way we should go. Non-survey companies, participating in survey, let me say that that is the main thrust of what we are trying to do. Two things. One is that even if, in parentheses, they say it's a survey company, we want to know the content of that survey company. Two is, if you are a non-survey company, so we need some form of advocacy. And I want to tell you that when I went to Lagos, I spoke with Faj. If we are going to the north, we will pick somebody like Susan and so person. Susan. If we are going to the, so pick people outside we will not go second, we are this, no. We will pick people who will add some measure of aura of authority, not authority related to finance, but authority related to positions you have held and your intellectual and professional background. So when I go and talk to somebody and say, this is this is person, this is this. After speaking as the second president, I allow them to come in. So we are going to do some form of advocacy. The State GIS platform. Let me say something. I hope the Surveyor Generals here will forgive me. Let me say, some years back, the people I have in council now, I must confess that I'm hopeful. There are a lot of very bright minds. But there was a time when one can say, without any fear of equivocation, that some of them were rustic in terms of knowledge. I do not see, let me tell you one thing. I did a World Bank project in Abia, and I digitized all the 17 maps of the 17 local governments. We used it, even though the year of those maps were 1960 something and all that. I came back to my own Imo State. On my own, without anybody paying me one night, I digitized that for Imo State and gave it to the then Surveyor General some time ago and told him, when you go for any meeting with the commissioner or that's their management, speak through maps. Any issue, try and generate a map. 2 minutes you are there, generate a map. If it requires a PowerPoint presentation, by the time you do that 2 or 3 times, you daze the other directors. And when a meeting is being convened, the commissioner, where is the Surveyor General? Go and call him. Oh. But unfortunately, some of them, if Lola is the commissioner now, and she calls me, when I'm going there, I'm already checking as if I'm suffering from this Parkinson. But you see, there is a power in, there's a way you do your presentation. No matter how intimidating that commissioner will be, he will find some kernel of knowledge and in what you are doing. There's a presentation you do, the commissioner will just tell you, let's go and see the governor. He will drag you immediately and say, now say this thing. So I have a program, one of those things that populate the imaginations of my mind, to upgrade, to continually inundate them, expose them with programs, courses, lectures, and all that, so that give them some measure of intellectual courage and confidence. Give them good communication skills. You write a memo. Some of them cannot write memos. You write a memo. When you look at the memo, you see coherence. You see the thing just flowing down. So, that will inform, that will impinge on these cadastral platforms in the state. There are certain things they should digitize, make it digital. And you do that for the government, even if it means, and most of the state branches of NIS are ready to assist. We bought the first set of computers for survey department some 5, 10, 20 years back. But what are they doing with them? Then LIM, GIS, LIS, and all that. I think, and rightly too, that there's a bit of confusion about GIS amongst us. The way I perceive it is not the way the other person perceives it. I remember that before SOCON came into being, we were writing the normal survey exam for survey laws. After passing my survey laws under the Survey Licensing Board, I put in my thesis. And it was on land information system. But before I could go abroad and come back, I started hearing geographic information system. So that is why this conference is very germane. So that what I perceive, my conception of GIS will be the same thing. So that let's have concurrence on the ideas about GIS and land information system. You go to some people, they tell you that geographic information has to do with regions. Somebody will tell you land information system will do with parcels of land. Yeah? Yes. So we need to create a platform where A will say this, B will say this, at the end of the day, we agree. So that when you are talking about it, we are singing the same song. Plagiarism, this thing, it is still in the, we are thinking about that. You see, we want a situation when you pop up a program, apart from the written work, that project you want to do, we should be able to look at the name, the coordinates, the map, a lot of things we will search for that will make it possible for us to dictate any attempt at plagiarism. Once again, I thank you for the opportunity. I would have said what I usually say, but may God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Sorry, sir. Please, Mr. President, permit me to just make a small announcement to some people. My class, the class rep has given instruction, it should be obeyed immediately. Thank you. They know. The people I'm talking to, they know. They know.
Thank you so much, the president of SOC. I think he deserves another round of applause. Sir, information. Okay. Please. Information. Please. Information is to be given, so.
Thank you very much, President of SOCOM, for the elucidation and the answering the questions. You made mention of the fact that when you were answering the question, that the law or SOCOM law does not give us the right to produce plans. The position is this, that the SOCOM, which we wanted to be SOBON, was to replace SLB, Surveyors Licensing Board.